Earlier today, a colleague of mine from Ericsson, Thiago Machado, he mentioned this mobility report that we publish in a regular basis. And I would like to mention about another report that we have published recently and that we do updates on a regular basis as well, which is the 5G Business Potential Report. The intention with this report is to actually try to anticipate the size of the business that will come from the digitalization process of the industries for the ICT players, and more specifically for the service providers, for the operators. So this study has been done in conjunction with a consultancy company, Arthur de Little. And what we have done is that we have analyzed the 10 most relevant verticals. And we have studied over 200 use cases in these specific verticals. So as the topic here today for the panel is 5G market, vertical markets, my intention here is to actually present a little bit of the findings that we have from this report. This one? No. Yep. So before that, this is more or less the segmentation model that we use for 5G in Ericsson. We have, of course, enhanced mobile broadband as the biggest one. We have as well a fixed wireless access as a big area in which we see that there is still potential for revenue growth for the operators. You can see here that they have estimated more or less $100 billion as potential market for the operators when 5G is applied for fixed wireless access. But then going back a little bit on the enhanced mobile broadband, apart from the new services that we see that will be available for the end users on this area, such as virtual reality, augmented reality, 4K video, as some of my colleagues have mentioned before, we see as well that 5G will bring another thing to the table for the operators, and that's efficiency. We see that that's a lot of cost to be reduced by the operators whenever delivering a service for the end users in this area. We have a number here that says that the cost for the megabyte transmitted can be as much as 10 times lower with 5G than it is today with initial deployments of 4G. So there's a lot of increase in efficiency that we see as a result of 5G for mobile broadband services. But then if you go to the top, then you have the massive IoT and the mission-critical IoT. So those are the areas that we actually have included in this report. So everything that you're going to see in the next slides is related to these top two categories here. So what we have done, as I mentioned before, we have analyzed 10 different verticals, 200 use cases, and what we have found out as a result of this study was that there is a potential business for the ICT companies coming from the industry digitalization as big as 3.4 trillion US dollars per year by 2026. And from this 3.4 trillion US dollars, 1.3 trillion is related to 5G enhancements to existing technology, or actually for new applications that 5G will make possible. And then out of this $1.3 trillion, then more or less $620 billion, according to our findings, will be addressable directly by the operators, by the service providers. So that's the size of, according to our estimates. Of course, each company has different numbers, but this is our estimate here of the size, potential business opportunity for the operators coming from the IoT 5G enabled services on the industry, the different verticals of the industry. And then, of course, it's not that all operators will have access to all of this potential business. It all will depend on how high on the value chain of IoT the operators will be. Some operators will just be providing connectivity. Some other ones will be providing service for the industries on the service enablement as well, and some others will go up to the service actually development and then deliver itself to the markets, right? So the biggest number will be 620, but then if the operator is not active in those two areas, then it's going to be a little bit lower. So these are the 10 segments that we have studied. So the biggest one is manufacturing. Second biggest is energy and utilities. Third one is public safety and so on. Then we have healthcare, public transport, and so on. And by the way, those 620 billion US dollars, they represent more or less 36% of additional potential revenues for the operators. So that's actually a very considerable figure. So the first, and then what we have done is that we got every single one of these verticals, and we have gone deeper down into the analysis. We have broken them down into categories per segment. I don't want to go into details here, but then you can see the potential of each one of them in terms of additional revenues for the operators. So when we talk about manufacturing, you're talking here about robotics in factory floors, about taking away the fiber and connecting all the robots with 5G. We are talking about sensors in the factories, gathering information from pieces and parts that will be used for production. We are talking about robots, connecting to robots. We are talking about robots being operated remotely. We are talking about remote maintenance of equipment in the factories and so on. So this is the, you can find a lot more detail on this on these use cases if you go to our website and check the report. Then this is just the potential for savings on the industry. We have done some early tests with some partners. By the way, we partner with ABB, for instance, with SKT for testing all of these things. We're even applying this to our own factories in China, so to test the results. So this is more or less what we expect to be taken down as cost. Some 15 to 20% OPEX reduction we see as possible for the industries in manufacturing. And then we have also done the breakdown in automotive, and then here we are talking about autonomous cars, but also about connectivity in cars, entertainment, telematics to measure the status of the parts in the car, preventive maintenance, and so on. So there's a lot of potential here as well. It of course will depend. It's going to depend on market to market. Maybe markets that they are more developed on, that have more producers of of cars in the automotive industry will benefit more from one segment. Maybe Brazil will benefit more from agriculture as well, which didn't show as big as in the global report, but we know here in Brazil it's going to play a larger role. Then energy and utilities as well, that's actually the second biggest category, as I mentioned before. So that on itself represents 6% of additional potential revenues for the operators. So big potential here as well. And we are talking about smart grid, being able to manage the energy grid with renewable sources as well on the top of the traditional ones. And we are also talking about houses and offices being able to check from the grid whatever time has lower tariffs and things like this, so that they can do downloads or any other things or consume more energy in off-peak hours. And then the last one here is healthcare. There's a lot of studies being done in healthcare. We actually have a partnership with King's College in London that we're doing research on the remote surgery. There's a lot on this area about tactical feedback from the remote surgery and things like this. So if you want to check that out as well, please go to our website. There's a lot of information on that. I think my time's up, so I'll just try to conclude here. Well, as some of my colleagues here also mentioned before, it's really important that we try to anticipate as much as possible testing of the different business models and applications towards the industry. Vertical industries is for sure the biggest opportunity on 5G. And the soonest we can conclude and actually get the whole service packages brought up together with partners from the industry, the sooner you're going to get the benefits from 5G. So these are some of the collaborations that we're doing globally with universities, with vertical partners, and also with the operators. So yeah, that's my contribution today.